Good time of the day, community. Let me show you a video demonstration how I'm using pretty complex tools that available in my solar setup in order to achieve stability of energy in my house during pretty tough times in Ukraine. So I'm going to start you from and walk you through from my setup. It's not usual, but it could give you some food for thoughts if you want to achieve something similar in your setup. Treat this video as an off-grid setup with access to the grid periodically when there are planned or unplanned blackouts, and when you have solar plus different batteries like 16S serial or 15S serial, and how to connect them together and optimize your setup to the maximum efficiency. So let me start from overview of my setup from inverters that I have. Let me switch camera. So this is my main setup where I have a Chinese inverter. It's a QDON, it's Ukrainian brand, but it's a clone or copy of Voltronic Power King, which has two conversion, like it has AC to DC to AC conversion. It's a 0 millisecond switch from grid to battery. And why I'm using this inverter still, because we don't have stabilization of power on Victron unless you are in off-grid mode, right? So I'm using this inverter for two reasons. First reason is to provide perfect to 30 volts AC to Victron and to all my devices, and second, to charge my batteries from grid under controlled conditions. So when I'm lower than 30% of my battery bank, then the charger connects and it charges battery from AC. So two reasons. And reason number three is this inverter, it's an off-grid inverter. It's hybrid, but an off-grid inverter, and the hardware configuration of it allows this inverter to keep 0 watts from grid when it's needed. So you know that inverters like Victron or Deya, they can have some fluctuations, plus minus like 20 to 100 watts always, just because of hardware configuration. This inverter, because it's completely isolated from grid, it keeps me at 0 watts all the time. And also because of power assist on Victron, this system works like 5 kilowatts plus 5.5 kilowatts. It gives me ability to have spikes of 10 to 11 kilowatts without any issues. So they together, they DC coupled to the battery bank that I'll show you a little bit later. Also, I have solar here. So I have 4.6 kilowatt solar panels, low voltage, and two solar arrays coming to the multi-arrays, 4.6 kilowatts each on facade of my house. So let's go to, also it's all connected through the server. It uses Venus OS large with Node-RED and some of the magic that I'll be talking a little bit later today. Let's go to the battery bank. So it's other side of the wall. It's a battery bank where I have 180 ampere hour 16S self DIY battery plus two 16S 2E brand batteries, total 28.5 or 580 ampere hour 16S battery bank, lithium phosphate. So this is one setup. Another setup, it's connected in serial to the multi-RS. It's a multi plus 2, and this inverter connected to just the two Pilantech batteries, US 5000 and US 3000C. So the purpose of this inverter is to leverage dynamic ESS and to keep my communication up and running. So the priority of setup is that if you have lack of electricity, importance of having energy is for water supply, for communication, because you need to hear news from outside, and that's why this multi plus 2 works for me really good. And I'm going to show you how I'm leveraging the volume of these two batteries, which are 15S serial batteries. So the voltage of these Pilantech batteries is slightly lower than the voltage of these batteries. You can't connect them in parallel. It won't work. But when you have solutions like multi plus 2, you can connect them together by having them connected to these connected to one inverter, these connected to another inverter, and they can work together as a system which behaves like a buffer one for each other. Let me switch to the laptop to show you some configuration nuances. Let me show you how often we have power cuts. So here I have graph. It's for the today. So today we had like starting from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. Then it was power cut, then 10 a.m. to 12 or 11:59, and now we don't have power already, right? So for this problem is covered by solar plus batteries, plus I have backup of diesel generators if needed. But what is interested is how I accomplished information in a system that it's a like then there is a plenty of solar, more than needed. For that I'm using Venus OS Large and a beautiful tool embedded into it called Node-RED. And in Node-RED, in my multi-RS, I'm using MPP operation mode measurement, which has different value types, and important value type is voltage or current limited. So when you have this measurement as 1, it means that you have excess of the solar, more than you needed. And then it means that you can connect some other devices, some other at output of this inverter in order to actually use that excess of the solar. In my case, I'm sending information from this to MQTT topic, where this is called as PV enough. So I have enough PV. Then on other setup, I'm using this as information to switch between different ESS modes. Let me show you. So this is my multi plus 2 setup, right? And it also has this Node-RED, which is receiving information from that MQTT topic and uses it to switch between different ESS modes. So here is I'm subscribed to the topic, then I'm using a function that to switch between ESS optimized without battery life to ESS to keep battery charged. As you might know that when you set keep battery charged, inverter immediately, or the system immediately starts to charge battery to 100%, right? So when I'm receiving that I have plenty or excess of the solar, I'm switching to 9, and this is how I'm actually saving some payments, saving some budget on electricity bill, right? But how I'm using dynamic ESS in my case? So dynamic ESS, it's a system that allows you to put buy and sell prices if it's fixed prices, or you can use dynamic prices if you have provider, right? Which allows you to save budget on your electricity bills. In my case, I'm slightly leveraging this system in a different way, but it works. So technically what I'm doing, I'm obtaining information from my local electricity grid provider about planned power outages, planned power cuts. This is the site of grid provider, and this is actual queue of grid is off and grid is on. So for today, right? And I want to still keep my ability to save some budget on electricity bills, as well as I want to use this information to predict and plan charging of batteries in order for them to stay on my configured state of charge. So my configured state of charge is 85%. So I have a buffer of 15% for using excess solar from the previous system. So when there is excess solar, then my node red switches the system to keep battery charged, and it charges to 100%. But when there is no excess solar, then I want my battery stay at 85%. And for that, I'm using dynamic ESS. I'm obtaining that information from the grid provider and building the table of prices where I'm using 10x increased price when there is no planned electricity, and just normal price. This is all in hryvnias, Ukrainian hryvnias. When there is planned electricity, and dynamic ESS works just fine. Here is a price graph, and here is how it is planning to charge battery. Like it is planning at 3 a.m. As you can see, it pulled from the previous system some electricity in order to stay at 85. So here is battery state of charge, and it is using it is not using grid, I mean electricity from previous setup when there is a power outage from grid. In this case, it is not discharging batteries from on multi-RS when there is a power outage. It is charging only when it is allowed by price and when there is excess of the solar on the previous system. For that, I'm using again Node-RED, where I repurposed the flow that was provided to me by Dirk. It's a development, he's development director at Victron. So what I'm doing, I'm pulling information from my electricity grid provider, then I'm building this array of prices in the 70 lines of code flow, and sending it to the modified dynamic ESS configuration, which is in VRM API node red node. And this happens every 30 minutes. So every 30 minutes I'm obtaining information from grid provider, preparing the array, updating that at DSS, and then it just changes the settings of dynamic ESS prices and trains dynamic ESS system at VRM to follow the graph. Right now I'm working in green mode, where I'm not selling it, because at this point I still work on building these fake prices in order for the system to behave accordingly. But overall, this helps me to leverage excess of the solar, as well as to not drain the battery of the fast system at multi-res, and to use the batteries on multi+2. The system works just fine, thanks to Dirk for building this, helping to build this VRM API node. And next step that I'm going to accomplish, I was testing it slightly, but to switch to trade mode. So the trade mode in dynamic ESS allows you to sell back to the grid. In my case, I have two systems. It allows me to sell power back to the fast system, to multi-res. I was testing it, it works just fine. This multi+2 behaves like a PV inverter. But what I need to do actually is to ensure that I'm sending power from batteries, from Pilantech batteries at my multi+2, back to multi-res only during the time when there is no solar. So usually it should be just at night, where I can drain batteries from the main system by having AC conditioner or heater during winter. And it works just fine as AC couplet system. So dynamic ESS can be used also for AC coupling, to sell or excess solar if you have it, or energy from batteries back to the initial system or to your grid during the planet hours. Hopefully this helps you to understand how my system was set, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much.